loses semifinals, loses round 7. Whoever loses this one gets 4th place in the tournament. And let's face it, no one wants 4th place for anything. So what we have here is actually the #1 seed, Mickeynow, who I want to say went out a little bit earlier than expected, went into losers a little earlier than expected, and Scotty, who definitely went out a lot earlier than expected. But here they both are, fighting to continue in the tournament. And I think Scotty is, well, he wants to win the tournament. I've talked to him a little bit, and he's gunning for 1st place for sure. Mickey is sort of a veteran of Fusion. He was one of the, I want to say, one of the earlier people to get 46 in-game time. Back when that was something special. It's not really anymore. But he's been practicing a lot and trying to get back in shape. And I think it's shown throughout this tournament that he's still pretty damn good at it. Meanwhile, Scotty is sort of the, I want to say, newcomer to the scene. And he's one of those infuriating people who get insanely good at something really fast. And he actually has a 45 in-game time now on the leaderboard, tied world record. And he's he has what I would call a pretty good advantage in this tournament, while they're playing on the English version of Metroid Fusion, which contains, well, it has some peculiar mechanics that were fixed in later versions. People generally prefer to play the Japanese version of Fusion when they can, just because the text is shorter, but the English version has some peculiar stuff where you can go out of bounds and skip some areas, and Scotty is, I want to say, he's probably invented some of the better setups for doing some of the out of bounds that save time. So he's probably the most, probably the person most consistent at those out of bounds stuff. And it does help, particularly in a real-time race, that you have these tools at your disposal. But at the same time, we frequently joke about the fact that Scotty is probably probably the most inconsistent person you could possibly find for any of the GBA Metroids. Perhaps less so for Fusion, but I wouldn't say this race is given at all. It can definitely go both ways, so I'm looking forward to see what happens this time around. And what seed was Scotty even? He was 3rd seed when he signed up for this tournament. Whoever wins this one gets to face the tournament organizer, Rosu123 himself. I'm looking forward to see the results there. I mean, I'm excited to commentate, actually. I've been pretty excited to commentate. I haven't commentated a race in a while, and I think it's always nice to, when we really get into it, to see some of the best players around, just go at it and, you know, fight for survival here in losers bracket. But with that being said, the first 5 minutes, really, the first 10 minutes, okay, we'll stretch it a little bit. The first 20 minutes of Fusion are so infuriating because there's a lot of text to begin with, especially the first 5 minutes. And there's a lot of random stuff happening in terms of, you frequently get stopped by idols not wanting to open, having to wait around for them. You can speed it up a little bit by hitting 2 missiles at the same time, but it's still a very random part of the game, and as you can see, Mickey is sort of getting better luck than Scotty here, who's still waiting. So despite being ahead for pretty much the first part of the race here, he's now behind by a little bit. And I mean, if you guys want to keep a counter of how many individual beams the runners get, feel free, I'm not going to count. See, the thing about me and Fusion is, while I enjoy a lot of aspects of Fusion, it's probably, I mean, I don't run a lot of games, but comparatively, this is definitely the one that's frustrated me the most. just because I hate the fact that a lot of it is out of your control, especially early on. It's pretty infuriating, and I'm sure it's infuriating for the runners too. Like, I mean, if I were in Scotty's shoes right now and I was following the race, I'm not sure if he is or not. You don't have to answer Scotty, by the way. He'd look at his insane early game pace, and then he'd look at Mickey lucking out a little bit and being ahead. Well, anyway, this is all pretty minor in the grand scheme of things, because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure it'll come down to who plays better. And that's what we're going to see in this race. Throughout the course of Fusion, you have the pleasure, the great pleasure of running through the same areas a lot of the time. And the elevators coming up are what you'll be seeing quite a lot of. Every time they switch sectors, they have to sort of go up to this main deck area, go down another elevator. And I mean, I think it was probably to set the tone for the game that they make the elevators a bit slow, but goddamn, is it I was about to say infuriating again, but apparently someone is keeping track. Also, we saw a bit of difference here early on, where Scotty grabbed an extra missile pack, and I mean, I may not be doing the optimal stuff here, but I am pretty sure that grabbing 45 missiles is amazing for this game. There's a few missile bottlenecks where you want a specific amount of missile later in the game, and usually that's standard conventional wisdom has been that you need 40 to do most things without running out, without being in trouble. And well, like if you're learning the game, then grabbing 45 is usually a good idea, because some of them are pretty fast to get and speed up some things later on. But it's still, in a race setting, it's just so nice to end up with 45 missiles, because you're pretty much never gonna run out of missiles unless you make some pretty massive mistakes. It's a nice buffer to have in case, like, you just make minor mistakes. Also, in case you might be wondering who Mickeynow is, you might never have heard the name before. He recently had a name change, and he was known as Mickeynow, spelled G-N-O-U. As you can see, they sound nothing alike, and well, Mickey is sort of famous. He did the Zero Mission 80% run at AGDQ, I want to say, a while ago, and that has earned him the legendary status. And there are a few people in the GBA Metroids community who can claim legendary status, and Mickeynow is definitely one of them. Of course, the now in his name refers to the fact that everything is done immediately and not later, which is a useful skill to have in a speedrun. Coming up soon is another one of those damn infuriating idols. I'm just going to make a habit of saying it as much as possible now, because, you know, the more I think about it, there are a hell of a lot. There are many different things that are infuriating about this game. And what we are seeing here is luck turning a little bit. Scotty getting slightly better luck here, making it faster. You want to hit 2 missiles at the same time here, and there are different ways to do that. The conventional method that Mickey is using on the left is way more common. And then we have Swagsters, self-proclaimed swagsters like Scotty doing the horizontal double followed by a vertical double. And quick maths tells me that normally you would have to hit the thing 4 times, but instead you can do 2 rounds, which is nice. You know, saves that extra bit of time. It's been a pretty strong first 10 minutes for both of these players, honestly. I'm enjoying this race very much. When we're as far as semifinals, we can't really have people messing up simple stuff or get tricked up by, you know, all these easy things that you're supposed to do for the first part of the game. I was in voice chat with Scotty before this race started, and a little bit of he gave me some insight in his recent experiences, and he's been playing the memory corruption category, the actual any percent category, where you sort of skip, I want to say, the last 20 to 25 minutes of the game. And, well, I mean, if you're playing that category, you are missing out on the last 25 minutes or so of the game. So he's not as well practiced in that particular part of the game. So maybe we'll see Mickey using his phenomenal skills, his legendary experience, putting it to good use and showing Scotty what for. There's another sector switch here, and I mean, I think, I know you're all excited, but I think as far as when you can go grab popcorn or go to the bathroom or whatever you need to do while watching this exciting race, do it when we switch sectors like this. It happens more than a few times. See, normally when you're commentating a race here, you would probably, you know, chip in a little bit about the lore of the game. But as it happens, these runners are actually playing on the English version, so assuming that your reading skills aren't too bad, you can probably follow along just fine, because all the text in this game is unskippable. All of it. You're getting the full story every time. It's one of my main gripes with the game. You would add a lot of replayability to a game if you could just simply press start to skip a lot of the dialogues, because the dialogue is a fair amount of the game. I mean, the in-game timer doesn't count up doing text sequences and door transitions and like every time you're not really in control of Samus, basically. And I mean, so we have a typical real-time finish of like an hour 17 minutes versus an in-game time of like 40-something minutes. So a lot of that is text and doors and whatnot. And then ends up being a lot. Scotty pulling off the little jump to the platform there. That looks like a really stupid simple jump, but it's actually, I think, close to frame perfect. See, I'm always wary of throwing out numbers like that, like it's frame perfect or it's 2 frames or whatever, because I'm usually wrong about it. But I just know it's a difficult jump to get that saves a minimal amount of time. But it makes sense that someone like Scotty would go for it. I'm a little disappointed by Scotty there. He should have just shot the enemy there instead of jumping over it. See, the thing about the GBA Metroid games is that jumping is really slow. In Fusion particularly so, because Samus' jump arc is like really high, and she doesn't move as fast to the sides when in the air compared to when being on the ground. So contestants will want to stick to the ground as much as possible. There are exceptions to this, mainly when you have the speed booster. Alright, more infuriating RNG coming up. This boss is great because it jumps a random amount of times. So early on I was talking about the first 20 minutes of the game being particularly bad in terms of reset points and having a lot of extra possible time loss, and well, I feel like it all kind of culminates here. There are more later on, but generally the game is a lot more bearable in terms of avoiding resets once you're past this point. So if you're one of those people that like to count jumps, I mean, I'm not gonna do it. But if chat wants to do it, that's fine. But I can definitely tell Mickey got a good start. I feel like it's tradition between most runners that they simply count their jumps. I've never done that. I just know it'll make me upset. Now, I didn't count anything, but I think it looked like Mickey had slightly better luck than Scotty did. He caught up a little bit, I'm sure. Alright, coming up is one of my favorite tricks in the game. Unfortunately, I doubt any of them will actually go for it. There is a forced SX encounter like 2 or 3 rooms ahead when looking at Mickey's screen. And if you miss it, you probably die. Yeah, Scotty's not going for it. Mickey's not going for it. That's sensible. You don't want, you know, all the excitement to end this early in the run, right? But it does save a good amount of time if you pull it off. I feel like it's one of those tricks that separate the good runners from the really good runners. And I'm not saying that at all because I was one of the few that actually went for it when I was actively running the game. No, not at all, sir. I would never toot my own horn. Oh, Mickey had a cute little ledge grab set up there. Alright. You know what time it is, boys. Get your drinks. Go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do. You know, I think with all the pauses you get in this game, if you were to grab a drink every single time you hit an elevator, you'd probably have a pretty good drinking game. Right? Maybe take an extra sip whenever Samus mentions machine or atom or, you know, other keywords in Metroid Fusion. Alright, so coming up is Sector 4. Personally, one of my favorite sectors. I think in general, both runs of this sector are pretty fun to do overall. The only... I'm not particularly good at the boss coming up because I've never bothered to really learn the patterns properly. You know, there are those people who see all the patterns in their head and can just like visualize wherever it's going. I'm just sort of winging it every time. It doesn't always work out well. Of course, I would never dare accuse any of the runners here of being bad at Ceres. I'm sure they're all excellent. I mean, you're already like ruining your health every time you step on an elevator in this game. You may as well make your life pass faster by drinking or smoking, whatever else you want. Now, if I had to shout out some people here, then the main man, the tournament organizer himself, Roster123, has several times made a very beautiful MS Paint chart showing the different patterns. This has still never helped me learn the patterns, but you know, I'm sure he could share if perhaps anyone else was struggling with this particular boss. Also, there are some patterns, I guess, for this boss that are generally better than others, but overall it shouldn't matter too much. Of course, the idols do matter, and we're seeing more of them here. They really want to drag out this tournament, huh? Both getting 3 beams, I think. It's a little hard to count on both screens. First shot looked pretty good on both of their sides, as far as I could tell. Oh, that was a pretty good shot by Scotty. Good job, Mickey, too. Keeping it close. Keeping it close for the fans. I mean, this is a race featuring the legendary Mickeynow, so obviously, I know there are plenty of fanboys out there. Or fangirls, really. I mean, probably more fangirls, to be honest. But trust me when I say I'm trying to be, as much as I love Mickey, I'm trying to be as impartial as I possibly can. This is not because I hate Mickey, it's not because I don't think he's the coolest individual in the world. It's just, I feel like that's the way to commentate. You know, this sector actually feels really short. Just from watching the people play here, I've never really noticed. It's what, like 4 minutes in and out? I'm sure someone could make a lewd joke out of that if they wanted to. Is this what people do nowadays? They just shine spark sideways? I thought it was better to walk up and do the diagonal spot. Oh well. Both of them nailing the low height here, which is a lot trickier than it looks. It's great because, of course, then you don't have to charge your speed booster down there on the ground. You can just straight up fly out of the sector immediately. Alright, well, you know what time it is, guys. It's drink time. I apologize if it's turning some people off this exciting race that I'm drinking, but you guys have to remember that I was personally so excited for this race myself that I decided to stay up way past midnight. It's like 2:30 a.m. here, and I've been up for like something like 19 hours, and I had to get up early. But I was just that excited that I had to watch this. So I feel like it's fair game that I give myself some energy when I can. You know, I was actually really tempted to just take my laptop and drag it to bed and commentate from my own bed. But you know what? You guys deserve better than that. Not just you guys. Mickey deserves better than that, and Scotty too, I guess. Oh my god, this text is so long. As a side note, now that I think about it, I actually have no idea what the C or the W stands for in Scotty's name. Wonder what it could be. Chat, I'm kind of curious what you think it is. Oh, Mickey! At least you have plenty of time for that shine spark, but I was worried there that he was gonna shine spark way too low. He did like a jump and failed to shine spark for whatever reason. It's time to head for super missiles and fight the notorious box. Oh, I totally missed if Mickey actually... Oh, sorry, I totally missed if Scotty got the shine spark there, but Mickey definitely got it. So he deserves all the accolades. Grabbing the previously thought to be unskippable missile tank here. If you've been paying somewhat close attention to missile counts throughout this race so far, you'll notice that you don't actually need a lot of missiles for most things. You can sort of get by with very little because you get so many refills in this game every time you fight a boss or kill an idol or something like that. Scotty gets data spark and Mickey kind of struggles a little bit and accidentally goes too far. Once again, one of those tricks that are a little more difficult than they look. You don't have a lot of frames to do it. Scotty's showing off his patented self-made box strat there, and once again showing off a little bit by doing some wall jumps out of the room that I've never seen anyone do before. That's neat. How is Scotty not the best player of this game yet?
Oh wait, he might actually be.
But don't let Mickeynow know that I said that. Alright, well, it's that time. Did you guys know that Sector 5 is Arc? Did you know it's Arctic? It's pretty cold. Speaking of area names, there was someone here in the chat that was very confused about what Sector 6 was supposed to be an abbreviation of. I thought it was pretty obvious, personally, but apparently some people are not easily convinced. Man, Scotty has taken a decent lead at this point. But like I said, Scotty is less practiced in late game, so we might very well see some catch up later there. The point of Sector 6 is to get through it without touching the blue X. So for those of the old boys in chat that played this when they were a kid, they're going to tell you all about how scared they were when they first walked through this sector, staring at the dimly lit Game Boy Advance screen, barely being able to see anything. Not just because the screen itself is dark, but also just because the area in general is dark. Trying to flee from these amorphous monsters chasing you relentlessly. They'll tell you it's nightmare fuel. Of course, I was not scared. I had the situation under control when I played for the first time. And both runners here seem to have the situation under control as well. There's actually some pretty good subtle horror elements in a lot of Metroid games that I appreciate. I mean, I'm making fun of it here, but it's something I do appreciate about the series. Here's another horrific part of the game where you sort of have to dodge the SAX here. Scotty once again showing off. I bet that setup isn't even faster. Boo, Scotty, showing off again. Are you really trying to upstage Mickeynow? Shame on you. No, but it was pretty cool. Good job, Scotty. Scotty performs the first part of the fight pretty well. It's all about jumping into them and just sort of giving him the full force of the beam. I think he got all the... well, no, he missed one double. But it's still a pretty strong fight from him. Of course, Mickey is a veteran, and there's no way he could possibly mess up this fight like he's doing right now. He's gonna show Scotty who's boss here. He also got 2 doubles, but it's because, see, there's a difference between getting 2 doubles in this game or getting 3 doubles. 3 doubles, you're just such a tryhard. I mean, goddamn, do you play games all day or what? But 2 is like, yeah, I could do this in my sleep. I don't even need to practice. So what if I missed one? I just had a slightly off input. No big deal. Ugh, chat, stop making me feel old, please. See, when I envision myself talking to a large audience, like the honorable Twitch chat here on Speed Gaming 2, I always imagine that I'm speaking mostly to people around my age that can appreciate the subtlety, the nuance in my jokes and general commentary that I've accumulated over several years of experience. And then sometimes I'll see someone say something like, I wasn't even born when this game came out. Yeah. Oh man. You know what? You're all right, Twitch chat. You're all right. Alright, so my own personal least favorite sector of the bunch, Sector 5. Why is Sector 5 bad, you ask? Well, the thing is, the game sort of asks you to go to some of the same sectors multiple times, and Sector 5 is one of them. And the thing about Sector 5 is that you're sort of just completing the same loop of the place like 3 times. And it's just so awful. And I mean, you didn't hear it from me, but apparently some people get so confused by the fact that you have to like do the same thing over and over that they'll actually leave the area early. Can you believe it? They'll actually forget what they're doing and just flat out leave the area. I mean, not that I can blame them. It's not exactly a fun place to be. Alright, but I mean... what's to say about Sector 5 even? You're getting ice missiles there. I guess ice missiles are worth talking about, right? So generally, in Metroid games, you have a thing called the Ice Beam. Well, Fusion wanted to be different. Fusion is sort of like the edgy teen that just like tries to distance himself from the smarter older brothers. Kinda. Anyway, story-wise, I guess it makes sense for her to pick up ice missiles instead. Or at least they try to justify it in text. The thing about ice missiles is, well, things you would normally kill with the missiles, well, not anymore. They freeze first, so every enemy pretty much needs at least 2 shots to die. So, in some sense, it's sort of a side grade, more so than a straight upgrade. I guess the one thing that switch sort of means is that, well, the beam becomes the primary weapon and the missiles sort of become utility tool, kind of. You could argue that's a good change combat-wise. I think the problem with that is that your most powerful weapon is the one that you have unlimited ammo of, and that just kind of seems backward to me. Well, anyway, enough about game mechanics. Scotty is still sort of racing ahead of Mickey, even though I've mostly been following Mickey on the stream so far. And I mean, honestly, who wouldn't mostly follow Mickey? And he hasn't like really made too many mistakes. Just as I say that, he like shows that he can still make small mistakes, like walking off that ledge and still win. Alright, well, I mean, I could say something about the state of the space station on Scotty's screen right now, but I think chat already knows what's going on. I'm pretty sure there's nothing I could really say to contribute to the ensuing chaos, so I'll just let it play out. As a side note, I actually think the fully voiced clip here is pretty clear. I know it sounds like something else to you guys, but I'm kind of surprised by the quality of the sound clip compared to how old the game was. But I think that's because I came from, like, I started really playing games like the generation before the Game Boy Advance, basically. Like around the Super Nintendo, early N64 days, and there were a lot of games back then that had really garbled sound. When it, like, if they had fully voiced clips, it sounded really garbled. And I was pretty impressed back then by the quality of the voice clip on a handheld game, no less. Man, Scotty's really raising ahead. Come on, guys. No coaching in chat. Jeez. You can coach Scotty without giving Mickey at least 2 other coaches. Alright, pretty good by Scotty there. Wow, that's a really fast emergency. What's that, 4:37? That's pretty close to the record, right? That's pretty ridiculous. Oh no, Mickey. I remember Mickey telling me before he had issues with that particular enemy. You need to freeze it like as soon as you enter the room. You need to fire missiles with a specific rhythm to sort of catch that enemy midair. And he did mention he had trouble with it. I'm pretty sure it was Mickey anyway. Still manages a pretty good emergency despite that. Getting both doubles on the core as well. For a 4:31 meltdown. I guess that really showcases like how much time Scotty really wins in some areas. That was a big difference. Pretty big difference for such a small segment. Oh, Scotty having a bit of an issue there. It's not a big deal or anything. But the climb there does look pretty cool if you manage to pull it off perfectly. Alright, well boys, we're actually departing a bit from the norm here and not going to a different sector. I think that's what we're at, right? It's been so long that I played Fusion that I sort of naturally forget the like what order things happen in. I imagine whoever wrote this particular text blurb thought they were really smart. Questioning the motives of a self-preserving species. This is another quote-unquote great segment of the game where you arbitrarily lose a random amount of time. I'm not bitter. What are you talking about? Still waiting for the final animals here. Oh, that looked pretty good to me. Honestly, I don't think I'm the best judge of how fast animals you get, but that looked pretty nice to me. Mickey also doing impossible strat. Yeah, it was pretty good for the climb. See, it's been so long since I heard why it's called impossible strat that I forget who named it. But obviously it's someone who thought it was impossible. Mickey's still waiting for that final animal. It still looked... Okay, that did take a while. Maybe it was not so decent. I just noticed Scotty has one more E-tank than Mickeynow. It's because he's scared. Well, Mickey would never ever be scared. He's too good for that. In all seriousness, though, he said something about it helping him with some of the more suicidal strats he used for some of the bosses, and I guess I can respect that. Not sure if it's like ever really an issue on a good run, but I guess if you mess up one of those strats, it can be curtains. You don't want that to happen in a tournament race. French people getting scared. Also, come on, Sam. You know better than that. He's not French. He's French-Canadian. It's an entirely different species. Oh my god, these elevators. Someone end it. So here we have the second visit of Sector 5 I was talking about like 15 minutes ago, I forget. Where you had to do 2 loops of the damn thing before you can exit. Well, if I had to gauge my own commentary, I'd say it's 50% cheering for Mickeynow, telling people how great he is. 40% talking about the infuriating parts of Fusion, and about 10% talking about some of the good merits of the game. But I mean, doesn't stop it from being a good race. Although it appears that Scotty has pulled ahead by a fair bit, to the point that where I'm not really sure that Mickey can catch up, barring any major mistakes. But as I was talking about earlier, I think Scotty is a extremely good candidate for messing up majorly. That being said, I feel like whenever Scotty makes a mistake, it's kind of snowballing from the very beginning, and it's a little late to start that snowball now. They're pretty far into the game, but I guess it could happen. Also, if Scotty was playing his favorite category right now, he would actually not be in the room with us. He would be way out of bounds, doing some magical mumbo-jumbo, and then ending the game. So, as far as whether the contestants has recently played this upcoming part of the game, well, Scotty hasn't much. We'll see how that goes. And, well, not to toot my own horn, but totally to toot my own horn, this is probably the best part of my own personal best in this game. So I will, of course, be looking at both contestants and judging. Well, not judging Mickey so much, because I could never do that. He's too good. He's too good for me. But I'll be judging them harshly. Oh man, I knew that would rustle some jimmies. I totally missed it if Scotty took the save or not here. I imagine not. I don't see why he would possibly do that. Like, if someone dies, game over, man. They're not both gonna die. And he's against Mickeynow, who is definitely never gonna die. Alright, so if you're one of those guys rooting for the closest possible match, this would be a good time to, you know, if you can do like some real life manipulation strats, this would be a good time to like give Scotty the worst possible RNG in here, because you can lose a lot of time to RNG here. I want to say so much that if we got like the worst case scenario for Scotty and best case scenario for Mickey, they could probably reasonably end up at roughly the same spot after the boss is over. But Scotty got one beam, so it's not gonna happen. Let's see how long Yakuza takes for him. 1, 2. Oh, it's happening, boys. It's happening. 3. Wait, does that count as a 3 or 4 round? Was it? I'm suddenly... Whoa, I suddenly can't remember how this boss works at all. It was a 3 round, right? Oh, Mickey's still waiting at the door. Poor guy. I think he got 2 beams, yeah? Also, Scotty once again being a total tryhard and getting... I saw that double on the second phase of the... on the second phase of Yakuza. It was okay, Scotty. It was pretty good. Of course, Mickey's showing that he has way superior manipulation strats and getting a slightly faster Yakuza. Oh, but struggling a little bit with the second fight. Not much, but enough that you could like tell he lost a little bit of time. Is he gonna outdo Scotty in terms of doubles? Oh, Mickey, that's the tryhard way. You don't get 3 doubles, man. Well, who am I to question Mickey? Who am I to question Mickey? Either way, I want to say this was pretty good for both of them. So, good job. There's another super interesting SAX encounter here. See, the problem with this... Excuse me. The problem with this this section is that it's so difficult to properly execute. You gotta hold left and you gotta jump and you gotta place a power bomb, and it's just too difficult. And of course, Scotty doesn't even really want to play the game anymore, so he just kind of goes around, takes the shortcut. Not many people know it, but the English version has a very, very secret little hole in the wall. Or, you know, it's out of bounds stuff. It's the same thing, right? I don't think Mickey knows out of bounds stuff. Nah, he takes the scenic route. But I mean, that's good for us. That's good for us. We get to see much more of the game. I forget, is that the last we're gonna see of out of bounds stuff? I actually can't remember if Scotty goes for anything later, but it might be something worth keeping an eye out for. I want to say he might do something in Sector 4, but the one he did just a little while ago, that's definitely the major one, I feel like. So Notoria is like the roadblock for missiles, because you have to shoot a lot of missiles into him. It's just the fastest way to kill him. And if you grab a greater amount than 40 missiles throughout the course of the game, that's where you're gonna catch up a little bit. Just because that boss goes slightly faster. It's not enough to offset how much extra time it takes to grab the other missiles in the game, but it's enough to like mitigate the lost time from grabbing extra missiles. I mean, honestly, even though they're somewhat far apart right now, they're both playing out of their mind. I am pretty impressed by how well they're both playing. Scotty having what sounds like the run of his life. Mickey, well, I mean, it's Mickey. What can I say? It's Mickey, the legend. And he's done pretty well for himself, I'd say. What sector is this again? 5 again? Come on. Someone in the development team for Metroid Fusion had a... I mean... Someone really, really likes Sector 5. You know, my surprise was actually somewhat genuine there. I legitimately did not remember that Sector 5 was next. Speaking of Sector 5, there's a specific boss here that actually reappears in a later game. You're starting to see a pattern here, like favoritism. I think there's definitely some kind of favoritism on the dev team. And whoever decided that Sector 5 was the place to be the most times probably worked on that later Metroid game. That's my crackpot theory, and I'm sticking to it. That's a really long shine spot in the sector. I guess that's the coolest thing about it. If you like long shine sparks. See, I think the problem is the more you know about the game, the less impressive shine sparks become. Because, I mean, not a lot of them take they don't take that much effort to set up for the most part, and they're just kind of, you're not in control for the most part. That was a really strong opening for Scotty. It was like an extremely fast first phase of Nightmare. Looks pretty good. He manages to lure Nightmare perfectly in position. Also killed him really fast, so he did not have to wait for Nightmare backing up too much. I think Scotty is going for the non-tryhard here, and only getting 2 doubles. Yeah, I think he's learning. Oh. See, the problem with only getting 1 double is that you're not hitting that sweet spot of non-tryhardness. Then you just look sloppy. Something I haven't mentioned is that as missiles upgrade throughout the game, they fire slower, so doubles consistently become more and more difficult throughout the game. And I mean, I want to say some of the later bosses have slightly easier ways of setting up the core in such a way that it's not too bad, but obviously it's less lenient, just for the most part. Ah, now Mickey's doing it too. I mean, a little bit sloppy core fight from both of them, but overall a pretty strong boss fight regardless. Scotty is still racing pretty far ahead in Underwater. Also one of the sections I like better throughout the course of the run. So for a lot of places where you need a speed boost to go through a wall, there are like the magic pixel you had to start on for sort of. So you don't run as far back because you know specifically where you have to start the speed boost to save the most time, and both runners are. I mean, someone said earlier that Scotty went a bit far back on one of them, but for the most part, it seems like both of these runners know exactly where to stand. See, it took me a while to actually, you know, realize that when I started running this game. I think I sort of just knew roughly in the ballpark where you had to start running. It's not really something I thought too hard about, but it is what it is. Yeah, there is a potential clip in this sector you can do, but as far as I know, I'm not too well versed in the clips. As far as I know, this is one of the harder ones to set up, and a little stupid depending on what enemy RNG you get. So even though Scotty might be the candidate to watch for going for something like that, I can totally understand why he wouldn't. You can land on that platform? Scotty's showing me things I didn't even know. So Scotty's space boosted through that vine in Underwater Sector 4. Mickey's doing like the shine spark here, which is something I prefer doing even though it's technically slower, just because going up that shaft means you're less reliant on good space jumping, and well, the space jump in Fusion is a little awkward just because it's really, really slow. So doing optimal platforming with the space jump feels weird. I mean, everyone gets a feel for it at some point, but it's always just like, feels really strange. And I prefer having to avoid it in that really tall room by just shine sparking up. Alright, boys, we're an hour and 2 minutes in, reaching... Oh, excuse me. Reaching the last couple of bosses. The final stretch. Oh, so there's a bit of an alternative. There's a bit of an alternative way of fighting the boss coming up that I think Scotty also invented. I'm not sure if he's actually doing it in this race because, see, this is a problem when commentating and you don't keep up with new strats. But I think this one is sort of awkward to do. Potentially bad if you mess it up. We'll see what he goes for, I suppose. But you know, on the left we also have Mickeynow, and if there's one thing Mickeynow likes, it's tradition and being legendary. So we'll probably see the normal fight for him at least. Oh, Scotty is going for it. That's pretty cool. I guess I should pay attention. Maybe I can learn something. See, that could probably have been done faster. So whether or not that really saved time, it probably did. But I can't imagine it being very much. So he took like 200 something damage. I've been trying to pay attention to his energy throughout the... And I don't really think there's been any moment so far where he's needed as much energy as he has right now. But I mean, man, at least he's super duper safe for the last part of the game here. Yeah, so Mickey's showing the tried and true method of fighting Boxer. I mean, getting hit by him is not part of the plan, but you know, if there's one thing Mickey likes, it's living life dangerously. Really dangerously. Jeez. Warning. No entry without authorization. Warning.
Warning. No entry without authorization.
Alright, well, if you're still following along the drinking game, I think this is the second to last big sip you have to take. So I totally wasn't paying attention, but some people like to time how fast their escapes, and I saw neither of their times. I mean, that's my bad, but it looked pretty good on both sides. I personally don't think it's too interesting, but I guess it shows a certain mastery of space jumping in this game. Ooh, la-di-da, someone has high standards. Aside from me, I mean. Final eye door in the beam. In the game? God damn, I'm tired. Well, anyway. Final eye door. Scotty didn't get any beams. What a guy. Thanks, Ridley. Thanks for turning your back on Scotty. It's not nice. That's weird. I've never seen anyone struggle quite the way that Scotty did right there. But I think the thing here is Scotty's trying being a bit more active in terms of placing himself optimally to hit more of the charge beam. And a lot of runners are kind of lazy in terms of just placing themselves in the corner and just kind of waiting for him turning around. And I feel like that gives consistent good results, but I guess if you're proactively running around a little bit, you could potentially get better results. Oh my god, I have headphones in. Mickey, please. Funny thing is, I'm watching the stream right now, and I turned down the music pretty low. I completely forgot I actually had music on, and then Ridley comes along. Thanks. Well, I mean, if that doesn't wake me up, nothing will. I totally didn't count if any of them got diffusion doubles. I really apologize for missing somewhat difficult sections of the game here. But those are definitely the hardest. And you know what? I'll give the runners some goodwill both and just say they all got all the doubles. Yeah, they're just that good. They got all the doubles. And I mean, it's losers semifinals, so expect nothing less from both of them. Oh my god. Sometimes I really wish you could skip text. It's kind of a... I feel like it's kind of a pace killer. I don't know if any of you have like played any fighting games, but when you're doing really well and there's suddenly some downtime because of whatever reason, it can kind of take you out of it. It can kind of make you lose that groove you got going on. And Metroid Fusion really wants you to lose that groove by having a 2-minute discussion here at the end. It's... I don't know. It feels really off-putting. It doesn't help that the final boss is kind of a little execution heavy, I guess. I guess it's technically the second to final boss, but there's some fast pressing of buttons, making sure you hit stuff at a proper timing. Oh man, they're both doing text right now. See, you might think Mickey caught up because they're both at the same text box. Nope. It's just that long. Scotty has a pretty commanding lead right now, and the text box, the final text here, just spans over that whole lead. And more. Any objections, lady? Yeah, I've got one. And more elevators, sort of to hammer it home here. Is there anything that could sort of change the lead right now? Honestly, I doubt it. Nothing short of a death here, I think, is gonna stop Scotty from winning. And you know, I say that Scotty's inconsistent a lot, but he's kind of proven me wrong throughout the course of this race. He's doing pretty damn good. And I think he generally has been in Fusion for the most part. I expect a perfect fight. And I expect Mickey to follow suit because he's cool like that. I mean, I only expect perfection for the most part. Will it be perfect? Yes. It was perfect. Will he shoot 2 beams and kill it? Yes. Will he get the 3 doubles and kill the core as fast as he possibly can? Well, to be honest, I'm having a bit of a difficulty seeing if he got the first 2. Oh, he did, and he got the sweet spot. Like I said, nothing less than perfection. I don't even need to watch Mickey's fight to know he achieves perfection as well. See, we're just that far into the tournament that nothing less than perfection should be expected from both races. Of course, there are varying levels of perfection, obviously, or we'd just have a tie every time. But they're pretty good. I think Mickey actually hit 5 there, but don't tell him that. Will Mickey do it? Oh, he got the triple double as well. Nothing less than perfection.
Propulsion sequence activated.
See, when I was less good at this game, or should I say, even worse than I am right now, there was a time where it was just really bad at the setup for the final boss quick kill. Like, really, really bad. And I was just dreading fighting this son of a bitch every time. I don't expect that to be the case here. Scotty goes for shooting straight up, which is also one of the possible variations you can do this. Also the fastest, I believe. And he gets it. Pretty damn good. Congrats to CScottyW on winning this race. And Mickey is probably gonna follow suit in about 40 seconds or so. Hello, who joined me?
Hello, Eagle.
Oh, it's you.
It's
No,
me.
Congrats, Scotty. What do you have to say for yourself?
Thank you. Wow, that run.
Yeah, it was pretty good, right?
Really all I can say.
It was pretty good, save for like one or two things.
Yeah.
Scotty, what's your personal best again?
That was it.
That was it, okay. So, how close is that to a 44?
Not very. I think that's like, this is like a... If my previous PB is any sign, that would be like 45, 30.
Oh, okay.
But I think my text matching was better, so it's probably going to end up being like 45, 35-ish.
Well, I guess one of the perks of playing on emulator is that you can check it, so do let us know once it's over. I swear I won't disqualify you and let Mickeynow be the winner instead. Alright, so Mickey finishes at 116.44. Pretty good as well. I don't really know English times, but that's like a convincing 46, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty good 36.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Say mid 46. Probably a low 46.
All right, Scotty. So I want you to really give me that. What are you gonna do to Ross next round?
I'm gonna do this to Ross.
This particular run.
Just this particular run, I'm gonna do it to Ross.
You know, you can't play it back and expect not to be called out for cheating.
I didn't think that far in advance.
Oh, okay. Well, you have time to come up with a new run to play back. It's all right.
Yeah, I'll be working on that from
Okay,
now until...
but give him the smack talk while you can.
Here's my smack talk. I am smack talking Rasu123.
See, I figured you'd say that. That's apparently a common saying.
Yes. And I'm sure he's very insulted right now.
Oh, of course. Of course. Alright, so I think I can update the bracket, but I probably shouldn't because I am technically not involved with the administration of this tournament. But if I could update the bracket right now, it would show that Mickey ended up at 4th place, slightly outplacing Mr. Shasta and JC, both getting 5th. So the 3 final contestants in this tournament is Scotty, that we have right here, and Rasu waiting for him in the losers finals, and then in winners finals we have Postmore. Historically, I feel like I have to point it out because it's just too funny. Historically, getting 2nd in every single GBA Metroid tournament ever. And, you know, people are predicting that it'll happen again because you can't mess with tradition. And if there's one person that knows you can't mess with tradition, it's the legendary Mickeynow. Hello, Mickey.
Hey, guys.
Hey, man,
What do you-
GG.
Thanks. Good job to you too.
I love good sportsmanship. So Mickey, what can you tell us about this particular run you did?
It was basically the best run of my life. I
Was
beat
it?
my Japanese PB by like 40 seconds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you both had extremely good runs. I mean, that's what I said. I expected nothing less than perfection from both of you, and I got it. So it'll be, well, we have Ross and we have Postmon. They both have to live up to a pretty strong precedent that you guys set in this particular race. I can't say I'm expecting to be disappointed, but they'll find a way. No, I'm kidding. It'll be good. I see that you got a 45-40, Scotty. That's pretty good. Pretty sure it's better than my 45, though I couldn't check the full in-game time back then. Mickey, I'm guessing you got a 46.
Yep.
Alright, that's gotta be a pretty good 46, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like a mid one. It's still pretty damn good. It's pretty cool that you beat your English bits. Unfortunately, we were not playing on the superior Japanese version. But we can't have everything. We can't have perfection and the good version in one race. Alright, well, I mean, that's loser semifinals, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll just... I'm guessing you have plenty to talk about as far as your runs went. So if you have any things you want to sort of add here at the end, go ahead.
How did your clips go, Scotty?
Clips went fine.
Nice.
I was unable to get the one in lower sector 4, but I kind of like, I said I would only go for it if I could freeze it right away, and it didn't happen. Doesn't really matter. It's not that much time save, only like 3 or 4 seconds.
You did get the one in sector 2?
Yes.
Nice.
Did you practice that at all, Mickey, or did you just... Did you think your legendary status was going to carry?
I tried to play a bit this week, but I began a new job and I worked 6 days this week, so I didn't have much time.
See, Mickey, you don't have to make excuses. You're better than that, Mickey. You're the Mickeynow.
Please.
That being said, I understand.
I did,
but you still had a great run, so I don't think you can really complain too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I got scared at box 2, like I panicked.
Yeah, I saw that. That was interesting.
Right? That's why my Core X fight was wonky. I didn't know how to deal with it, and I really didn't want to die.
Mm-hmm. Well, it worked out. It worked out. Alright, well, like I said, we're gonna have to give it their all in order to sort of top this, because we had extremely good performances from both of you. I'm looking forward to it, and maybe if I'm not too tired, next time I will sit and commentate those as well. I think that's all we had, right?
Yep.
Alright,
Thanks for the race. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you guys for putting on a good show. I am also gonna see if I can catch up on sleep. So thanks to everyone who watched. I'm gonna hop out here and leave it to whoever else is in charge. Thank you for watching.